All right, Foundations of Math 2, we're going to work on fractions. So we are going to work with different factors of things and simplifying the fractions first, and then we'll work with operations with fractions. So 48 over 16. 48 over 16. So without a calculator, what you would need to do is like a factor tree. You have 48 and all the factors that go into 48. I always start with 1 and go down until I start repeating. So I have 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16. So you may not know that 3 and 16 go in there. You have to think about it and try different things. See what happens. Do some long division if you need to. 3 and 16, 4 and 12, and 6 and 8. 7 doesn't go in. I've already got 8 here, so I'm good. That's my list for 48. And then 16, 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. So what I want now is the greatest common factor, the GCF, for each of these. And then that's how I'm going to simplify this fraction. The greatest common factor between 48 and 16, they both have 16. So what you want to do is start down this line here and see which one is the biggest. So my GCF is 16. So 48 divided by 16 is 3. 16 divided by 16 is 1. So what you would get is 3 over 1. You're essentially dividing both by 16 because those would cancel. You get 3 over 1 or 3. You could also look at it like this, as 48 is equal to 3 times 16, and 16 is equal to 16 times 1. Your 16s cancel. You're left with 3 over 1, so your answer is 3. 24 and 30, same thing. 24, factors of 24, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. 5 doesn't go into 24. And then factors of 30, 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. So I want the greatest common factor here. My GCF here is 6. The biggest number that they both have there. So 24 is equal to 4 times 6, and 30 is equal to 5 times 6. Your 6's cancel, and you get 4, 6. Now, converting to improper fractions, you need to simplify those as well once we get that done. So to convert to improper, you take your denominator, multiply it by your whole number, and then add your numerator. So you're multiplying here, we're going this way. Multiply, add. So 7 times 2 plus 4 is what goes on your numerator, and that's going to be over your original denominator. So 7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus 4 is 18, so you have 18 over 7. 18, to make sure that it is simplified, you can list your factors, or hopefully you know that 18's factors are 1 and 18, 3 and 6, 2 and 9, and 7 is a prime number, so it doesn't have 7 as a factor. It is not simplifiable. So 18 over 7 is your answer. 42 over 4, again, I'm just going to simplify, so I'm listing my factors of 42 and my factors of 4. 42, I have 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, 6 and 7. My factors of 4 are 1 and 4, and 2 and 2. So my GCF here is just 2. So 42 is equal to 2 times 21, and 4 is equal to 2 times 2. Your 2's cancel, and you get 21 over 2. For the sake of these fractions and what we are going to do with them, you want them to be in improper form. That is the easiest way to deal with a fraction rather than mixed numbers. So here I'm going to convert this to improper and then I'm going to simplify. So 9 times 3 plus 6 all over my original denominator of 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 plus 6, 33. So you have 33 over 9. Now you can list your factors of 33, list your factors of 9. If you saw in the beginning that this 6/9 here could be simplified to start with, that would make these numbers smaller and easier to simplify in the beginning. Or you can simplify here. So either way, you can simplify this fraction to start with and then convert it to an improper fraction, or you can simplify here. I believe the key to the notes that is linked to your outline has this part simplified first. So 33, I'm listing my factors of 33, 1 and 33, 3 and 11. And my factors of 9, are 1 and 9, 3 and 3. So my GCF there is 3. So 33 over 9, that's equal to 3 times 11 over 3 times 3. The 3's cancel, and you get 11 thirds. And then the last one was simplifying. I'm converting to a improper fraction and then simplifying if necessary. So again, take your denominator, multiply it by your whole number, and add your numerator and put that all over your denominator. So 5 times 6 plus 3 all over 5. 5 times 6 is 30. 30 plus 3 is 33 over 5. 5 is a prime number. It just has 1 and 5. 33 is not, but it only has 3 and 11 as its other factor. We listed those over here. So this one you cannot simplify. That is as much as you can do. Now we're going to perform some operations here. So we're going to start with adding and subtracting, which is the hardest thing with fractions, and then multiplying and dividing is easier. So adding and subtracting, first you want to have improper fractions, not mixed numbers. You want it to be improper. So I'm going to start by converting to improper. 11 times 1 plus 10 all over 11 minus, I'm just going to copy down the rest of it, and then 3 times 1 plus 3 all over 3. So 11 times 1 is 11, plus 10 is 21. So I have 21 over 11 minus 3 times 1 is 3, plus 3 is 6 over 3. Oh, I miscopied here. Sorry about that. 21 over 11 minus 6 thirds. Now, with your adding and subtracting, you have to have a common denominator. So add and subtract, you have to have a common denominator. Okay, you have to have a common denominator. So since 11 and 3 are not the same number, I'm looking at my least common multiple here. So 11 and 3, they're both prime numbers. So what you would want to do is multiply them by each other. So my least common multiple here is 33. So to get 33 from 11, I multiply it by 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 3 times 21, 3 times 11. And then here, to get 3 to look like 33, I multiply it by 11. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top, or it changes my fraction. So 3 times 21 is 63. So I get 63 over 33 minus 6 times 11 is 66 over 33. Did I miss? Oh, look here. I'm sorry about that. Hang on. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is, that should be a plus 1, not a plus 3. Sorry about that. So plus 1. So then that makes that 3 times 1, that makes that a 4. 4 times 11 is 40 4. So what we've got here is 63 over 33 minus 44 over 33. My mistake was a copying mistake here. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. I copied down 3 instead of 1. So then I should have 4 over 3, which doesn't change anything here with my LCM because I'm only looking at my denominator. So 4 times 11 is 44. So now I'm saying 63 minus 44. When you add and subtract, after you have a common denominator, you want to just operate on your numerator. So 63 minus 44 is 19. So I'm 19 over 33. You would reduce if possible. 19 is prime, so you cannot reduce that. Here, now this one's already an improper fraction, so I just have to convert this one. So 2 times 2, and then plus that numerator of 1 over 2. So I'm just going to copy down the rest of my equation. Now I still have 16 fifths plus 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. So then I have plus 5 halves. So now I need my common denominator here. 5 and 2 are both prime. So my least common multiple would be the product of the two. 5 times 2 is 10. So now how do I make, so I have 16 fifths plus 5 halves. How do I make 5 10? Well, I multiply it by 2. So 2 times 5, whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. How do I make 2 10? I multiply it by 5. Again, whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So you get 2 times 16, which is 32. 2 times 5 is 10. Plus 5 times 5 is 5. And 2 times 5 is 10. Now that I have a common denominator, I add my numerators. 32 plus 25 is 57. 57 does not go into 10, so I cannot simplify that. And then the last addition and subtraction, 23 ninths minus 6 3rds. Again, I'm going to do the same thing, convert to improper. So I've got my 23 ninths. Convert denominator times whole number plus numerator. So 3 times 6 plus 2 all over my original denominator. 3 times 6, so I'm copying down my first part. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 2 is 20. So I'm subtracting 20 thirds. Now my least common multiple here. Now I can't make 9 look like 3 because that would be dividing. You have to multiply here. This 23 is not divisible by 3, so that would mess that up. Can't make 9 look like 3, but I can make 3 look like 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So my least common multiple here is going to be 9. I don't have to change this fraction at all. So 23 over 9 minus 20 over 3. But this 20 over 3, I would multiply by 3 so that my denominator is then 9. So then I have 23 over 9 minus 20 times 3 is 60 over 3 times 3 is 9. 23 minus 60, my bigger one has the negative, so that means my answer is going to be negative. You say 60 minus 23. You can have to borrow here. 5, 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 5 minus 2 is 3. So I get negative 37 ninths. It is not simplifiable. It is negative because my bigger number has the negative. That's addition and subtraction. Those are the hardest ones with fractions without a calculator. Multiplication and division is much easier. So with multiplication and division, you are going to multiply straight across. Divide's a little different. We'll get to that in a second. But when you multiply, you want to multiply your numerators and your denominators. Before you do that, it is easier to reduce when you start than to reduce when you finish. Multiplication, your numbers get bigger more quickly. So when you're starting, you want to reduce fractions as much as possible. And you're going to do what's known as cross-reducing. with your fractions. So 5/6 you can't simplify, 9/2 you can't simplify, but you can cross reduce here. So 5 and 2 don't have anything in common, but 6 and 9 both have a 3. So 6 is the same thing as 3 times 2, and 9 is the same thing as 3 times 3. So what you've got here is 5 over 3 times 2 times 3 times 3 over 2. Well, when you cross reduce, you can cancel out diagonally. So I can cancel out a 3 and a 3. So now I've got 5/2 times 3/2. And then I'm multiplying straight across. 5 times 2 is 15. 2 times 2 is 4. That you cannot simplify, so you're done. Next one, I'm going to convert it to an improper fraction first. So 2 times 3 plus 1 over 2 times 4/5. Just copy down the rest of my problem. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So I have 7/2 times 4/5. I can't simplify here. I can't simplify here. But now I'm going to look crisscross. 7 and 5 don't have anything in common, but 4 and 2 do. 2 is 2 times 1. 4 is 2 times 2. So I have 7 over 2 times 1 times 2 times 2 over 5. Can cancel out my 2's. So now I've got 7 over 1 times 2 over 5. Now multiply straight across. 7 times 2 is 14. 1 times 5 is 5. My answer is 14/5. Then the last one, I need to convert to an improper fraction first. So 8 times 4 plus 1 over 8 times 5 times 1 plus 4 over 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. Now here, I can't simplify this way. 33 and 5 don't have anything in common. 8 and 9 don't have anything in common. I cannot simplify this one, so I just multiply straight across. So I'm going to go over here and do some work. 33 times 9, 9 times 3 is 27. Carry the 2, 9 times 3 is 27. So plus 2 is 29. So I get 297 over 8 times 5 is 40. That is multiplication. Now division, it just has one extra step than multiplication. So division, it's going to be, what you're going to take is leave the first fraction and multiply it by the reciprocal. The reciprocal is the flipped fraction. It's inverted. You flip your fraction. So you can also, this is also known as, and this might help you remember it, copy, dot, flip, and I'll explain that in just a second. So you're going to copy down your first one, change your division to multiplication, and then flip your second one and do the same thing we did with our multiplication. So when you're dividing fractions, you have one fraction over another fraction, which means you are multiplying by the reciprocal. To divide fractions, you flip it and multiply. So we have 5 divided by 6, divided by 9, divided by 2. That's essentially what you've got going on here. So I'm going to copy my first one, 5, 6, change it to multiplication, flip my second one, multiply by the reciprocal. Now you can't simplify until you've got this going here. You can't cross reduce until you've got it set up in multiplication form. So 5 over 6 can't be simplified, 2/9 can't be simplified, 5 and 9 don't have anything in common, but 6 and 2 both have a 2. 2 is 2 times 1, 6 is 2 times 3. I've got 5 over 2 times 3 times 2 times 1 over 9. So now my 2's cancel there. So I have 5/3 times 1/9. And now I can multiply straight across. 5 times 1 is 5. 3 times 9 is 27. So just that one extra step of rewriting, and then you're good. This one I have to convert again. So I have 2 times 3 plus 1 over 2. And I'm just copying down, divided by 4/5. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so I have 7 halves. Now I'm going to go ahead and change this to multiplication. So I'm copying down my first fraction, change it to multiplication, and flip my second fraction. Multiply by the reciprocal. So now I'm going to look at simplifying. 7 halves, 5/4, neither of those can be simplified. 7 and 4 don't have anything in common, and neither do 5 and 2. So I can't simplify at all. So I'm just going to multiply straight across. 7 times 5 is 35. 2 times 4 is 8. 35/8. And then the last one. 8 times 4 plus 1, so I'm converting to improper, divided by 5 plus 4. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. Now I'm going to change it to multiplication. So this is equivalent. 33 over 8. I'm dividing by a fraction, so that means I'm multiplying by the reciprocal. Now I'm going to look for reduction. Can't reduce here or here, but I'm going to look crisscross. 8 and 5 don't have anything in common. 33 and 9 have a 3 in common. So 33 is the same thing as 3 times 11. 9 is the same thing as 3 times 3. So I have 3 times 11 over 8 times 5 over 3 times 3. My 3's cancel. I'm left with 11 over 8 times 5 over 3. And then I'm multiplying straight across. 11 times 5 is 55. 8 times 3 is 24.